Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to explore The Man in Asbestos by Stephen Butler Leacock, a humorous essay that teaches a subtle moral about human behavior. Before we start, let's understand what is the meaning of asbestos. It is a fire resistant material used for protection against heat or fire. In the essay, the man wraps himself in asbestos to be completely safe, which is humorous because it exaggerates the idea of protection to an absurd level. Imagine stepping into a world where safety becomes extreme. Let me give you an example. Think of someone wearing a full raincoat, gloves, and boots inside their house just because they heard it might rain. That's similar to the humor in the essay. Now let's start with first paragraph. Let me give you an explanation for this. The story introduces a man obsessed with safety. He covers his entire body in asbestos, trying to avoid fire, accidents, and harm. Leacock uses humor and exaggeration to show how excessive caution can become absurd. The man's obsession makes readers laugh but also reflect on human tendencies. Let me give you an example for this. Students, imagine a student covering their desk with bubble wrap before writing an exam just to avoid any mistake. That's similar to a man's absurd level of caution. Now let's move on to the second paragraph. Leacock describes the man's appearance and struggles. He cannot bend, eat, or even move comfortably. Every simple task becomes a comic struggle. This shows the absurdity of over caution and makes us laugh while thinking critically. Now, let me give you an example for this, students. Like a person trying to eat soup while wearing a spacesuit, it looks funny, isn't it? But also impossible. Now let's move on to the third paragraph. People around the man react with curiosity, amusement, and confusion. Leacock shows how society observes extreme behavior with both laughter and fascination. This emphasizes that going to extremes attract attention. Let me give you an example for the third stanza. Students, imagine someone wearing a full scuba suit at a coffee shop. Everyone stares, laughs, and talks about it. That's how society reacts in the essay. Now let's move on to the fourth paragraph. Daily tasks becomes impossible like eating, drinking, sleeping or using the toilet. Leacock uses satire to show that safety without a reason can hinder living itself. The man's obsession prevents him from enjoying his life. Let me give you an example for this. Like someone wrapping their bed pillow and blanket in plastic to avoid dust, comfort is lost for safety. Now let's move on to the fifth paragraph. Despite precautions, the man faces unforeseen problems. Irony is central. The very measures he takes to protect himself creates difficulties and ridicule. The lesson: over planning and fear can backfire. Let me give you an example for fifth paragraph. Like someone wearing a helmet while taking a shower meant for safety but completely unnecessary and funny. Now let's move on to the sixth paragraph. Leacock's style is simple, witty, and vivid. He uses exaggeration, irony, and satire. Students can learn how humor conveys moral and critical messages effectively. Let me give you an example for this. Like a cartoon showing a character carrying a huge umbrella indoors. Funny, but teaching a lesson about excess. Now let's move on to the seventh paragraph. The moral is simple. Balance is key. Excessive caution can make life difficult. Leacock teaches us to be sensible, practical, and moderate in our approach. Let me give you an example for this. Like wearing sunscreen at the beach, good. But covering yourself head to toe indoors unnecessarily, that's the lesson. Now let's move on to the eighth paragraph. This essay is relevant today's people sometimes overplan, overprotect, or become obsessed with safety or technology. Leacock reminds us to live wisely but not fearfully. Let me give you an example for this. Like someone checking their phone 50 times a day for security alerts, cautions, but excessive. Now let me move on to the next segment, that is ninth paragraph. To summarize, Leacock's essay is a mix of humor, irony, and social commentary. Extreme precaution leads to absurdity, and life requires practical judgment. The essay also teaches us how humor can deliver strong moral lessons effectively. Let me give you an example for this. Like reading a comic strip that makes you laugh but also teaches a lesson. That's Leacock style. Students, now let us see what is the conclusion. The world is full of people. The man in asbestos, remember, be cautious but don't overdo it. Enjoy humor, think critically, and apply balance in life. If you found this explanation helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more literally insights. Keep learning, keep laughing, and keep exploring. See you in the next class. Bye.